Christmas dinner at my parents' house always followed the same script. Same long table, same dry turkey, same people pretending they liked each other for 3 hours because tradition demanded it. I showed up on time, like always, wearing a plain sweater, jeans, and boots that still had military dust ground into the seams. No makeup worth mentioning, no designer bag, no performance. My sister Rachel arrived 40 minutes late, like a celebrity making an entrance. Perfect hair, perfect smile. Her boyfriend parked her SUV right out front like it was a billboard. The moment she walked in, the room shifted. My mom lit up. My dad stood straighter. Someone took her coat like she was checking into a hotel. Rachel kissed cheeks, laughed loud, and immediately started talking about traffic near the lake. Not traffic, lake traffic, boats, dock space, neighbors building new decks. The usual. I took my seat near the end of the table. That was my spot every year. Close enough to hear everything. Far enough that no one asked me too many questions. Dinner started. Plates clinked, wine poured. My dad cleared his throat the way he always did when he wanted attention. "So," he said, smiling toward Rachel, "how's life on the lake?" Rachel leaned back in her chair. "Busy," she said, "but in a good way, Dot. You know, when you finally invest in the right place, everything else just lines up." A few people nodded. Someone said, "Must be nice." Rachel smiled like she'd earned it all personally. Then my dad turned to me. Not casually, not accidentally. He turned fully in his chair, glass in hand, voice just loud enough for the whole table. "And you?" he said. "Still doing the Navy thing?" I nodded. "Yes, sir." He chuckled. "Not mean. Worse." Amused. "With your Navy paycheck," he said, "when will you ever own a lake house like your sister?" The table exploded. Not cruel laughter. Comfortable laughter. The kind people use when they're glad it's not aimed at them. Rachel smirked. Not a full smile. Just enough I looked down at my plate. Mashed potatoes. Gravy running into the green beans. I had seen this moment coming for years. I just hadn't known it would land so clean, my dad went on. "I mean, no offense," he said, which meant offense was the point. "But renting forever isn't really building anything, is it?" Someone laughed again. Someone else raised their glass toward Rachel. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Her face said everything. She was winning. Again I took a sip of water, let the noise wash over me. This was the part where I usually stayed quiet, where I nodded, where I let it pass so we could all pretend Christmas hadn't turned into a scoreboard, but this time felt different. Maybe it was the way my dad said Navy paycheck, like it was something embarrassing. Maybe it was the way Rachel didn't even bother pretending to be modest. Or maybe it was just exhaustion. The kind that builds when you've spent years letting people rewrite your story because it's easier than correcting them. I set my glass down. The laughter was still fading when I spoke. "Actually," I said, calm and even, "she doesn't own that lake house." The table stopped. Not immediately. Just enough hesitation that people weren't sure if they'd heard me right. Rachel turned her head slowly. "What?" I didn't raise my voice. Didn't rush. "She rents it," I said. "She's been renting it." Silence settled in, not dramatic, uncomfortable. My dad frowned. "What are you talking about?" I reached into my bag and pulled out my tablet. No shaking hands, no speeches. "I'm talking about the lease," I said. That was the moment the room changed. If this kind of family drama hits close to home, drop a comment below. And if you want more real stories like this, go ahead and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you think. I unlocked the screen and turned it toward the center of the table. Rachel stood up halfway from her chair. "Emily, stop!" I ignored her. The document was simple. Address, term, names, monthly amount. Past due balance highlighted in red. My dad leaned forward. His face drained fast. Rachel's mouth opened, then closed. "This isn't funny," she said. "I'm not joking," I replied. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." I tapped the screen once. "She's 4 months behind." My dad looked at me like he was waiting for a punchline. "Behind on what?" Rent, I said. Rachel laughed, sharp and high. This is insane. You don't own anything like that, I didn't argue. I scrolled property management report, late notices, photos from the last inspection. Nothing dramatic, just facts. The room felt smaller. Chairs creaked. No one reached for their wine. My dad sat back slowly. You're saying I bought it 3 years ago, I said. Under an LLC. Rachel shook her head. You're lying. I met her eyes. You applied to rent it. You signed the paperwork. Her smirk was gone now. Completely. My mom put a hand to her mouth. Rachel? Rachel didn't look at her. I didn't add anything else. I didn't need to. The truth sat there between the serving dishes and the half-empty glasses. Solid. Heavy. My dad swallowed. Why wouldn't you tell us? I shrugged. You never asked. No one laughed this time. Rachel sank back into her chair, mascara already starting to run outside. Someone lit fireworks down the street. The muffled pops filtered through the windows like punctuation. I picked up my fork and took another bite, the same way I always had. I didn't finish my plate. Nobody asked why the table looked frozen, like someone had paused a movie mid-scene. Forks hanging in midair, faces stuck somewhere between denial and slow realization. Rachel's eyes stayed locked on the tablecloth like she could disappear into it if she stared hard enough. I got up quietly and took my plate to the kitchen. I wasn't being dramatic. I just didn't feel like watching the panic set in. Not yet. My parents' kitchen looked exactly like it did when I was 14. Same tile, same sink, same humming fridge covered in Rachel's high school photos and sorority composite. Not a single photo of me in uniform. But I never expected one. Truth was, none of this started at Christmas dinner. It started a long time before that. The first time I realized I didn't matter, not really, was the summer I turned 8. Rachel was 12. My dad rented the entire neighborhood pool for her birthday party, hired a DJ, giant balloon arch, custom cake with gold flakes. Parents dropping off their kids thought it was a wedding. My birthday was 3 weeks later. I got a sheet cake from Walmart with crushed candles and a note from my dad. Cut it quick, Emily. Don't take attention from your sister's weekend. She was still outside with her friends. I ate my cake under the kitchen light while someone's music thumped through the walls. I didn't cry. I just learned something. In this house, some people get the pool party, and some people get told not to make noise. Rachel got the big room in every house we lived in. Even when I was older, she needs space, Dad would say. She's got more personality. I learned to live in corners. The room over the garage, the one with the window that looked into a brick wall, I decorated with things I could carry. I didn't bother hanging pictures at school. I made straight A's. Rachel brought home B's and the occasional C, and Dad threw her a cookout to celebrate her leadership potential. I handed him my perfect report card once. He didn't even look up from the grill. That's your job, Emily. Don't cause problems. One time I asked why she got rewarded for average while I got ignored for perfect. He laughed like I told a joke. Because Rachel is going places. You just need to stay out of trouble. That was the day I stopped showing them my grades. Stopped asking for anything. The more invisible I became, the easier life got. No expectations, no praise, just silence. By the time I hit high school, Rachel had taken over the house like she was some minor celebrity. Friends over every weekend, music blasting, my dad acting like he was hosting a reality show. I learned to walk around the living room like a ghost. If I paused too long, I'd hear it. Emily, go find something useful to do. So I did. I vanished. Mom once called me dependable, like that was supposed to be a compliment. But what she meant was, you don't cause scenes. You don't ask for things. You stay quiet. You make it easier for us to forget you exist. I wore Rachel's hand-me-downs until the seams gave out. Used her old phones with cracked screens. Got $20 a week for being so responsible while Rachel got brand new everything and a line of credit. The Christmas I was 14 sealed the deal. Rachel opened a diamond necklace and a brand new laptop. Because she's going places, Dad said. I opened a Target gift card and got a 10-minute talk about humility. I said thank you, went to my room, and didn't come out until January 2nd. After that, I stopped pretending we were the same kind of daughter's college. Rachel got a party, a private dorm, a brand new car, full tuition, and a credit card with a $5,000 limit. I got directions to the community college and a list of jobs that were hiring. And I wasn't dumb. I knew what they thought. Rachel was the star. I was background. So when I enlisted in the Navy after my first year at community college, nobody stopped me. My dad actually smirked. Guess not everybody's cut out for college. He told people I couldn't hack it and needed discipline. But I didn't join because I failed. I joined because I wanted to disappear completely and earn something they couldn't ignore. Boot camp didn't break me. It cleared the noise. Serving gave me structure. Rules made sense. Nobody cared about my last name. Promotions came from work, not personality. And best of all, there was no Rachel. But no matter how far I deployed, no matter how many commendations I earned, back home I was still just Emily. The quiet one, the practical one, the one renting some tiny apartment, doing who knows what in the Navy. They didn't ask questions. I didn't offer answers. At one point, when I was already 3 years in, my dad said during a barbecue, "I'm proud of Rachel, you know? She's building something real. All that real estate stuff, that's generational." Then he looked at me. "But hey, your job's important too. Every family needs someone who knows how to follow orders." I smiled, nodded, took a sip of beer, because in that moment, I knew what he didn't. I wasn't following anymore. I'd already started building something of my own. And the best part? They were going to walk right into it without ever seeing it coming. I didn't send photos home during basic, not one. When everyone else was mailing graduation announcements, I mailed nothing. No flag photo in uniform, no smiling boot camp shot, no look how far I've come message with stars and stripes. I didn't want congratulations. I didn't need fake pride. If you don't care when I'm failing, don't show up when I'm succeeding. I kept my head down. I followed orders. And I outperformed people who walked in thinking they were better than me. Not because I was naturally gifted, because I was used to being invisible, used to doing everything right and getting nothing for it. That kind of discipline doesn't get taught. It gets carved into you. After graduation, I qualified for aviation ordnance, munitions, weapon systems, precision work. One mistake and people die. I liked that. Responsibility without small talk. Nobody cared about your drama. Either you were reliable or you weren't. No one said I was jealous when I did better. They just handed me more responsibility. First deployment, Diego Garcia. Then Bahrain. Then Rota, Spain. I wasn't sightseeing. I was loading guided missiles under pressure. My days were 12 hours of sweat, sand, and silence. No one clapped. No one called me the future of the family. But people respected me. Meanwhile, back home, Rachel posted another sunset selfie from her lake house, bought with a hard-earned bonus from a brand deal she never disclosed. She'd pop into my DMs once in a while with fake sweetness. "Hope the Navy is treating you well. We're planning a 4th of July party at the lake house. You should come." I never replied. She didn't want me there. She wanted the credit of inviting me. When I re-enlisted, no one in my family said a word. My mom called 2 weeks later to ask if I could Venmo Rachel gas money because she's tight this month. I asked, "Do you know how much I make?" She paused. "Well, not really. You've never told us exactly." They assumed I was scraping by. Government paycheck. Barracks living. Maybe still renting a twin-size mattress in someone's converted garage. They didn't picture Navy bonuses. They didn't know I deployed with hazardous pay. Didn't know I'd gone from E3 to E6 faster than most guys in my unit. They thought Navy meant broke and obedient. That worked just fine for me. By year 6, I had over $90,000 saved. No debt, no kids, no boyfriend draining my paycheck. I maxed out my TSP, stashed money into a Roth IRA, and dumped the rest into a high-yield account no one knew existed. Back home, Rachel still played Boss Babe on Instagram, building her brand, partnering with local furniture stores for interior collabs that just happened to feature that lake house view in every single shot. She never tagged a landlord, never mentioned rent. Every post was grateful for my forever home. I watched it all from my rack on a ship in the middle of the Indian Ocean. She wasn't dumb. Rachel knew how to sell an illusion. I just couldn't believe how many people bought it, Dad included. He started referencing her house like it was family legacy. "We're lake people now," he'd say on phone calls I never returned. "Rachel's putting us on the map." She'd turned a rental into a reputation, but I didn't correct anyone. Not yet. In my final year before leaving active duty, I got stationed in Coronado, California. Solid base, better weather, private room, still nobody asking about my life, and still nobody realizing that in the quiet I was building, that's when I found the house. Not just any house, a 5-bedroom contemporary right on Lake Lanier, private dock, infinity pool, massive rooftop deck, built for someone with 6 figures in taste. It had been listed at $2.4 million. By the time I saw it, the price had dropped to $1.89 million. The market had cooled. Seller wanted out. I called a lawyer, not a realtor. A lawyer, we set up an LLC in a generic name. I wired $800,000 from savings, bonuses, and reinvested earnings. Took a low-interest VA loan for the rest. We closed in 14 days. No one, not my mom, not my sister, not a single cousin, knew I had bought it. The deed was in the LLC's name. The mailing address led to a P.O. box. The trust documents were clean. The management company thought I was just a quiet investor based out of Florida. I never even stepped inside during the first 3 months of ownership. I handled everything remotely: renovations, furnishing, landscaping, security system. The whole thing turned into a luxury, short-term rental in less than 60 days. I set the rent at $11,500 a month. First tenant? A pharma exec from Atlanta. He paid in full. On time. For 18 months, Rachel posted a story once about manifesting generational wealth. She had no idea her own sister was already running laps around her in silence. And I preferred it that way. Let them think I was still sleeping on someone's couch. Let them picture me in some shared apartment, with peeling paint and army green duffel bags stacked in the corn. Let them keep laughing about my Navy paycheck. Because the best part about staying quiet? Nobody sees you coming. I didn't flinch when I saw the name. It was a regular Tuesday morning. I had just brewed a fresh cup of coffee and sat down in front of my laptop. My inbox had 4 unread messages. One of them, flagged as high priority, was from the property manager I'd been working with since day one, Brooke Wilkins. The subject line said, "New rental application, Lake Property." I clicked it, half expecting another executive relocation or influencer couple wanting a weekend hideaway. Then I saw it. Primary applicant, Rachel Marie James. Co-applicant, Chase Anthony Maddox. Combined income, $414,000 annually requested lease. Start, August 1st term, 24 months. I blinked once, then again. The coffee in my hand didn't make it to my mouth. She had no idea I read it twice more, letting the absurdity settle. Out of every available listing in the entire lake region, she had stumbled across mine. Not publicly listed either. Brooke only marketed to vetted renters with verified assets and references. Rachel had clearly gotten through thanks to Chase, the boyfriend du jour, a 30-something brand consultant from Charleston with a recognizable last name and a trust fund to match. Their cover letter was as Rachel as it got. We're excited to elevate our lifestyle and create content in a space that reflects our growth and values. This home is more than a rental. It's a canvas for our future. I scrolled past the letter and hit the View Attachments button. Uploaded PDFs. Rachel's driver's license. Chase's bank statements. Joint credit reports. 3 months of tax filings. A 5-slide branding pitch deck. The deck was filled with sunset photos, potential Instagram captions, and a content plan featuring keywords like lake house luxury and authentic legacy. They were about to build an entire online identity. Inside my walls, I could have said no. I could have denied the application and never told her why. She would have chalked it up to bad luck or some jealous old landlord who didn't get it. Instead, I approved it within 10 minutes. Brooke was thrilled. "They're perfect tenants," she emailed. "Credit solid, verified funds, low risk, high-end taste, and she's some kind of online lifestyle figure. Should boost the house's profile," I replied. "Go ahead, lease signed. First and last month's rent wired. Keys handed over." Rachel and Chase moved in the first week of August. 2 days later, the internet exploded. Rachel posted a slow-motion reel of her twirling on the rooftop terrace, champagne flute in hand, with the caption, "Stepping into our forever era." Then came the stories. The drone shots, the flower arrangements, the monogram towels, the My Lake Life highlight tab on her Instagram. Every post screamed ownership. None of it mentioned rent. My dad texted the family group chat. "Looks like Rachel finally made it. That's how you build something real." My mom replied with a gif of someone crying tears of joy. My aunt added 10 heart emojis. I sent a thumbs up and muted the thread. Rachel posted 5 more photos that week, each one more carefully staged than the last. The open kitchen island with cut grapefruit and sparkling water. The lakeside yoga poses. The dock at Golden Hour Chase showed off the grill setup, labeled it ours, shot a video captioned, "Home hits different when you earn it." I never said a word, didn't email, didn't comment, didn't even click. Every single month, Chase's trust-funded checking account wired the full $11,500 right on schedule. Brooke sent over inspection reports like clockwork. "Immaculate condition," she noted each time. "Smells like diptyque candles and fresh orchids." I stayed quiet. Kept stacking money, kept working. The house appreciated in value while Rachel posted about slowing down and being grateful. It wasn't personal, not yet. Then Chase was gone. No announcement, no breakup post, just gone. Unfollowed, erased. Scrubbed, in his place came Darren, 38, covered in tattoos, with a fitness podcast and a personal brand built on dominance mindset. He moved in before Brooke even processed the update. Within a week, everything changed. Gone were the curated shots and clean countertops. Now the inspections showed water rings on the tables, trash on the deck, missing throw pillows, smudged mirrors, party flyers left under the welcome mat. Rent came in late. September. Then again in October. Then nothing in November. Brooke flagged it. I let it sit. She sent reminders. Rachel replied with excuses. Waiting on a brand payment. Instagram changed their algorithm. Cash flow issue. Next week, promised December arrived. The balance passed $34,000. Rachel posted a photo on the rooftop with Darren, clinking glasses with the caption, "Cheers to growth, love, and property ownership." That word, ownership, landed harder than any missed payment. She didn't know she was already underwater. She didn't know the lease was month to month now. She didn't know she was still living in my house. But she was about to find out. I didn't find out from Instagram. I found out from a guy in my office who thought he was paying me a compliment. "Hey, isn't that your sister?" he asked, holding out his phone like it was something I should be proud of. "She's on the morning show, Channel 9. Did a segment about women in business or something." I took the phone and tapped play. There she was. Hair curled, makeup done, smiling wide on a white couch with a mug that probably had nothing in it. The Chiron under her name read, Rachel James, lifestyle influencer, entrepreneur, homeowner. Homeowner, I didn't even react, just stared. The anchor leaned in. So, Rachel, you've really built something here. Tell us about this lake house everyone's obsessed with. Rachel gave her signature soft laugh, like someone who'd just been asked if she models professionally. Well, I've always believed in manifesting your reality. I saw that house in my dreams before I ever stepped foot in it. And now, it's home. The camera cut to drone footage I recognized instantly. My roofline, my dock, my landscaping. The kitchen Brooke had sent me photos of just last week. Fresh flowers, my furniture, my floors. The host nodded. It's gorgeous. And I love that it's yours. Rachel smiled like she'd just signed the deed. She talked about intention, about ownership, about designing her space from the ground up. She mentioned a future dock expansion and possibly building out a guest house for retreats. She said the lake house was an investment in legacy. She never once said the word rented. Not once. The segment ended with her handing over her Instagram handle and giving a wink to the camera. Come see more of the lake life. You'll fall in love with it, just like I did. I handed the phone back. My coworker chuckled. Damn. I guess she really made it, huh? I just nodded. Looks like it? I didn't correct him. I didn't say the words I wanted to. That's my house. She's $34,000 behind on rent. She's living on credit and captions. Instead, I went back to my desk and opened the portal. The balance had ticked up again. Another month gone. Total owed $45,900. Brooke had already sent a final notice. She CC'd me. Rachel responded with a 2-line email. Sorry again. Things are shifting. We're close to finalizing a new deal, expecting payment by the 20th. The 20th came and went. Nothing Brooke called. Do you want to initiate formal proceedings? I leaned back in my chair. Not yet. That morning show changed everything. This wasn't just about missed payments anymore. This was performance, a full-blown play, with Rachel in the spotlight, acting like she owned a stage I built. And she had no idea the lights were about to go out. I started reviewing the lease documents again. Month to month since September. Termination clause clean. 30 days notice, delivered certified, would start the countdown. No extensions, no grace eviction wouldn't be personal. It would be business. But I didn't file yet. I wanted the right moment. The Christmas invite came 2 weeks later. Group text from Mom. Dinner at our place again this year. Prime rib and wine, just like always. Bring whoever. Festivities start at 5. Rachel chimed in 20 minutes later. Can't wait to see everyone. We'll probably swing by after a little dockside toast at our place first. That little winking emoji did it for me. Our place, she was weeks behind on rent, under lease review, and using my property as a stage prop for her personal brand. Fine. If she wanted an audience, she'd get one. I booked my flight home the next day. Didn't tell anyone. Just showed up the afternoon of Christmas Eve. Same old driveway, same uneven concrete. Dad's truck parked in the same crooked spot he always left it. The second I walked in, the nostalgia hit. Stained carpet, slightly burnt sugar cookies, the sound of Rachel's voice filling up the house before you even saw her. She was wearing a floor-length cream sweater dress and holding a wine glass like she was on the cover of a catalog. Emily, she said, hugging me like we were best friends. Look who finally showed up, I hugged back. Wouldn't miss it. She didn't know I'd flown in early. Didn't know I'd already dropped by Brooke's office in person. Didn't know the certified envelope with her name on it was already signed, sealed, and scheduled for delivery. She floated around the house like she owned it, telling everyone about her home renovation plans and hosting lake yoga in the spring. Jackson, the new boyfriend, a walking midlife crisis with an expensive watch and zero personality, stood by the wine rack talking loudly about crypto. I watched them like a scientist observes bacteria under a microscope. Dad made his usual speech after dinner. Prime rib, half eaten, wine half drunk, voice louder with each glass. Some of us, he said, raising his glass, are doing big things. Lake houses, real property, building something real. Then he turned to me. And some of us are still figuring it out, huh? Laughter. Rachel giggled. You'll get there, Emily. Maybe start small, like a condo. One of those cute little 2-bedroom ones with a community pool. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't crack. I just stood up, pulled out my phone, and opened the property management portal. I turned the screen to face the table lease agreement. My LLC, my signature, Rachel's name, outstanding balance, $45,900. Status, 4 months delinquent. No one said a word. Nobody moved. Nobody said a word. My phone screen lit the center of the table like a courtroom exhibit. My sister's face lost every ounce of color. Dad's jaw tightened so fast, I could hear his molars grind. Jackson, standing behind Rachel, looked down like someone just yanked the floor out from under him. I didn't say a thing. I didn't have to. The numbers were doing all the talking. The lease agreement with her name on it. The outstanding balance, $45,900. The 4-month delinquency status. The notice sent. All on screen, black and white. No edits, no wiggle room. The same people who laughed 10 seconds ago were dead silent. Now Rachel finally broke the quiet. This isn't real. You faked this. You're not even a landlord. I turned the phone back toward me and tapped one button. Up came the certificate of incorporation, my name, my LLC, my trust, the address of the lake house, the signed lease agreement, the wiring records from her now ex-boyfriend's trust fund account. Still no sound from anyone, not even a fork scraping a plate. I looked straight at her. You applied to rent the house through a private firm. I personally approved the application. I've been your landlord for 2.5 years. You're 4 months behind on rent. You owe me close to 50 grand. Rachel blinked like she didn't understand the words. My dad finally spoke, voice low and shaking. You planned this. I didn't blink. I planned a retirement. She planned a performance. You bought the wrong version of reality. He stood up like he was about to give another speech. You humiliated your own family. On Christmas, I smiled. No, I brought receipts. What you choose to feel is your responsibility. Rachel stood now too. Her voice cracked. You let me believe I owned it. You let everyone believe I bought it? I didn't raise my voice. I never said a word. Jackson tried to say something. Okay, like, this is all crazy. And yeah, if she owes you money, like, fine. But you waited until tonight? I turned to him. You moved into a house without a lease. You threw parties, trashed furniture, missed rent, and helped someone lie to their entire family. You don't get to talk about timing. He took a step back like I slapped him. My mom finally whispered, Emily, please, can we just sit down? It's Christmas. I shook my head. It's eviction season. That was the moment everything cracked. Rachel's shoulders slumped. Her whole body sagged like someone turned gravity up just for her. She wasn't crying yet, but her mascara was fighting for its life. And still, part of her couldn't let go of the act. So what now? You're gonna kick me out? In front of everyone? No, I said. The notice was already sent. Certified mail. You have 30 days. Then I file. Her lips trembled. You're really doing this? You did this. The room stayed frozen. Someone's fork dropped. That was the only sound. I sat back down. Calm, steady, like I was watching a long-delayed power shift finally take place. Nobody touched their wine after that. The rest of the night ran on fumes. I helped clear the table like nothing happened. I stacked dishes, wiped down counters, and loaded the dishwasher, while Rachel sat on the couch, staring at nothing. Jackson ghosted. My dad pretended to be exhausted and disappeared to his room. My mom stood in the kitchen, holding a dish towel she never used. She said, barely audible, "You blindsided us." I shrugged. "You never saw me coming because you never looked." I left before dessert, back at the Airbnb. I booked under a fake last name. I logged in and checked the portal again. Still unpaid. No new messages. The next morning, Rachel posted a story. Just text on a beige background. Some people would rather tear family down than build their own success. Sad. I screen captured it, sent it to Brooke. Eviction goes live, day 31. No delays. Brooke didn't ask questions. Understood Rachel ghosted the payment reminders completely now. No more excuses. No more polite stalling. She stopped pretending. In less than 4 weeks, the certified eviction notice landed on her doorstep. Brooke sent photos of the envelope, the signature on delivery, and the timestamp. She had 30 days to vacate. Rachel tried one more Hail Mary. An email sent through her management team, offering to settle the balance in installments. I replied with a link to the updated terms. Full balance due, no payment plan, no exceptions. She never responded again. On day 32, the eviction filing went through. Legal, public, non-negotiable. I didn't post about it. I didn't say anything on my own socials. I didn't even update my LinkedIn. But I checked her Instagram. Gone were the rooftop posts. Gone were the sunset shots. The My Lake Life highlight disappeared. The bio no longer said Lake House Queen. The captions shifted fast. Now it was about minimalism, gratitude, and embracing change. Her followers didn't know what hit her. But I did. I'd been watching for years, and I was just getting started. The funny thing was, I didn't walk into that Christmas dinner planning to reveal anything I hadn't rehearsed a speech. I didn't imagine some dramatic mic drop moment where I exposed my sister and took back the narrative. In fact, I almost didn't go at all. I booked a flight on a whim and told myself I'd leave after an hour, 2 tops. But when Rachel opened her mouth and started talking about dock renovations like she was flipping the Kennedy compound, I couldn't sit through another lie. She said it casually, like she was giving an HGTV interview. "We're thinking of tearing down the whole upper deck, replacing the rails with glass, maybe a wet bar facing the lake, and a second-level lounge. Darren knows a guy who does fire pit installations. Should be wild by summer." Dad actually clapped. Now that's vision, and then he looked at me. Always back to me. "You ever gonna own something, Emily? Or you still playing G.I. Jane and living off base housing with rats and roommates?" Laughter. Not a lot, but just enough. Rachel took a sip of her wine and added with a smile. "Some people rent. Some people own. It's a mindset." I didn't stand up because I was mad. I stood up because I was done. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't roll my eyes. I just pulled out my phone and turned it toward them, like I was showing a receipt. The table read it slowly. Lease agreement. Emily S. James, LLC tenant. Rachel M. James property address. Lakeview Shores Drive. Outstanding balance. $45,900. Lease. Status, delinquent. 4 months past due. No dramatic music. No one gasped. Just silence. My uncle reached for his glasses. My cousin stopped chewing. My dad stared like he couldn't read. Rachel whispered, "That's fake, it's not. You're lying." "No. Why would you do this to me? You did it to yourself." Dad stood up, veins bulging. "This is a family gathering," I noticed. "So I brought a family invoice." Rachel's voice broke. "You knew this whole time, and you let me keep pretending you kept pretending. I just kept collecting." Nobody laughed. Now I sat down like nothing happened and picked up my fork again. Mom said, "You should have told us. You never asked." After dinner, I watched everyone scatter. Rachel vanished. Dad went straight to the bourbon. Mom just kept folding and unfolding the same napkin. I stayed in the kitchen and helped clean up like I always did. Stack the dishes, scrape the leftovers. Pretend like I wasn't the villain now, just because I didn't lie by omission for once. That night, Rachel texted me from upstairs. I hope it was worth it. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. The next morning, I left before sunrise. No goodbyes, no hugs, just a silent drive to the airport and a $5 coffee that tasted like freedom. Rachel made one last move before the eviction went through. She hosted a goodbye party at the house like it was a choice, posted it on Instagram. Our time at the lake is coming to an end. On to bigger things. Thank you to everyone who made this chapter magical. Photos of her on the dock in white, holding a candle like she was staging a breakup with a building. None of the guests knew the truth. They just smiled and took selfies in someone else's house. Brooke sent me the final inspection photos 3 days after she left. Damage to the stairs, scratches on the kitchen island, one broken window on the upstairs landing, a pile of unopened mail stacked behind the front door. Including the final invoice, she left it all behind. Darren didn't even show up to help her move. She hired a $99 per hour junk removal crew and dumped everything she couldn't carry in a borrowed SUV. I filed a collections claim for the unpaid rent, plus damages. Her credit score, once in the 700s, dropped over 150 points. Brooke relisted the house a month later. The market had flipped again, this time in my favor. 14 offers in 5 days. 11 were cash. 9 were over asking. I accepted one without blinking. $2.74 million. Closed in 21 days. Net profit after all fees, commissions, and mortgage payoff? $918,000. I moved to Austin the following week. New job. New loft. Full cash purchase. No roommates. No borrowed furniture. No more questions about whether I'd ever own something. I changed my phone number. My email. My emergency contacts. Blocked every relative still talking to Rachel. I didn't look back, but she tried one last time. A burner Instagram account. No profile picture. 4-paragraph message about healing and forgiveness, and being sisters. No matter what, I blocked it. Without reading the second paragraph, Dad sent a letter to my old P.O. box. Handwritten, 10 pages. Talking about mistakes and pride, and how blood is thicker than bank accounts. I shredded it without opening it all the way. Mom sent a birthday card that somehow got forwarded. It came back, returned to sender. Nobody gets a second chance to rewrite my story now. Not after all the years they spent erasing me from theirs. I didn't celebrate when the wire hit. $918,000 cleared into the trust account before noon on closing day. I watched the numbers shift on the screen. Just digits. No applause, no fireworks, no rush of triumph. Just quiet. Then I closed the laptop and took the trash out like it was any other Wednesday. I didn't tell anyone I sold the lake house. Not my coworkers. Not the new friends I was starting to make in Austin. Nobody got the full story. Nobody needed to. I'd spent my entire life being underestimated, spoken over, and explained away. There was something beautiful about knowing the win belonged to me alone. Rachel never found out the final sale price. She'd moved on to rebranding herself as a digital nomad in Charleston, renting a guest room from a sorority sister, and pretending she loved the simplicity of a shared bathroom and paper-thin walls. She posted things like, "Downsizing isn't defeat, it's freedom, and minimalist by choice, not by force." I didn't even bother rolling my eyes anymore. She hadn't paid a single dollar of the balance she owed. Not 1 cent. The collections account had reported to all 3 bureaus. Her credit score was tanked. She applied for 2 apartments in Greenville and was denied both. The third one approved her with a $5,000 deposit, co-signer, and 3 months of rent up front. She couldn't swing it. Her next move was a pull-out couch in Jackson's cousin's townhouse. She lasted 4 months before the cousin got engaged and asked her to move out. Then it was back to Columbia, sleeping on an air mattress in a friend's den. She posted fewer stories after that. Her Instagram went dark for weeks. When she finally posted again, It was a blurry photo of a coffee mug with the caption, "Rebuilding quietly, I didn't like it." I didn't watch any of the videos she shared from her car, talking about finding herself or being in a season of transition. I didn't care that she was on another self-discovery loop. She wasn't my responsibility anymore. I blocked her new number before she could use it. I didn't write back when Mom emailed either, twice from a burner account after I'd blocked her regular one. One message said, "We miss you, please come home." The second said, "You've made your point, both went to trash, unopened." I'd spent 28 years swallowing guilt, shame, and silence. I wasn't about to take another bite. I made a list of everything still connecting me to them. The old P.O. box? Closed. The shared streaming account? Canceled. The bank card my name was still on as a secondary emergency contact? Removed. Even the dusty storage bin in their attic with my childhood trophies. I paid a junk service to retrieve it and burn the contents. Clean breaks require clean lines. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel bitter. I just felt weightless. The loft in Austin was everything I'd never allowed myself to want. 2 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, direct view of Lady Bird Lake, all new appliances, all mine, paid in full, no mortgage. I furnished it slowly. No impulse buys, no cheap sets from discount websites. Just good pieces I loved, one at a time. The closet was organized by color. The fridge was always stocked. The bathtub had jets. The only sound at night was the hum of the city outside. No yelling, no tension, no lectures about ambition. I stopped checking their socials completely. Not even out of discipline, just disinterest. I knew what the content would be. Curated messes, filtered apologies, new angles of the same collapse. There's no plot twist in a loop. Dad had gone quiet since the letter failed. Word got back to me through one of his old golf buddies. He wasn't invited to the Saturday morning tea time anymore. Apparently, that video from Christmas dinner made it to their group chat, and nobody let it go. "Still got that daughter who owns your other daughter?" That line alone cost him a year of social life. He sold his club membership a few months later and started golfing alone at a public course on the edge of town. The guy who told me said he looked 10 years older than last Christmas. I wasn't sorry. None of them were sorry when I was 14 and blowing out candles on a gas station cake while my sister threw parties in a rented bounce castle. None of them were sorry when I shipped off to basic and they sent a group text that said, "Good luck," and nothing else. None of them were sorry when I came home after 2 deployments and ate dinner in silence while Rachel passed her phone around, bragging about her new YouTube followers and fake skincare brand. So I owed them exactly what they gave me. Nothing. I didn't disappear out of spite. I disappeared out of necessity. Silence for me wasn't a punishment. It was recovery. Nobody gets to ask what I'm doing now. Nobody gets to visit. Nobody gets the new address or the Wi-Fi password or a key to the front door. That house was the final tether. I cut it, cashed it, and walked into a life they never believed I could build. I never looked back. I didn't recognize the name right away. It was a Tuesday, sometime around noon. I was working from my apartment in Charlotte, still on a project deadline, still answering tickets with military precision, like I always did. The notification slid across the top of my screen. New rental application, Lakeview Shores, Lydia Brooks Property Management. I almost ignored it, until I saw the names primary applicant, Rachel James, co-applicant, Olivia Banks. It stopped me cold, not just because of Rachel, but because of how she applied. Lydia doesn't list publicly. Her rentals are by referral or invitation only. You don't find her lake listings by browsing Zillow. You get them through moneyed friends, quiet trust accounts, or old money handshakes, which meant Rachel didn't get the listing on her own. She piggybacked on Olivia Banks, a last name with weight type, a PR executive from Charleston with a portfolio that practically guarantees approval. The kind of woman who doesn't ask for second chances and doesn't apply to anything below 6 figures. They attached a glowing cover letter. We're excited to begin a new chapter in a serene, high-end space that reflects who we are. We value privacy, design, and quality living. This home is not just a rental. It's a sanctuary we plan to love and care for, the audacity. The theater, I stared at it for a long time. Not angry, just fascinated. After all that bragging, all those years of performative superiority, Rachel was applying, unknowingly, to rent a house I bought in silence, renovated in secret, and managed through a trust named after a grandmother she barely remembered. She didn't know I was the owner. She couldn't have. The name on the trust was Margaret S. James Irrevocable Asset Trust, 2021. Legal, shielded, airtight. I'd built it with the intention of never being seen. I never imagined it would be her standing on the other side of the contract. And yet, there she was. Lydia had already done her background check. Rachel's income was spotty, some influencer deals, some vague consulting, but Olivia's side carried the application. High liquidity, strong credit, 0 evictions, a 2-year lease at full price. She even offered a 3-month security deposit up front. I approved the lease in under 5 minutes. Lydia sent them the digital paperwork the same day. I watched Rachel electronically sign the bottom of a 12-page lease agreement without even reading it closely. You could see the moment it hit her Instagram. First, a boomerang of her standing on the dock, rosé glass in hand. Then a slow pan of the living room staged for perfection. Then Olivia in the pool, her head tilted just right. The caption, "Our forever started here." She didn't just move in, she launched a whole new character arc. Suddenly, she was Lake Life Rachel. Hashtags, drone footage, brunch on the deck, wide shots of her home. Every post staged to scream homeowner, every caption dripping with ownership energy. My personal favorite was when she posted a photo of the master bath with the caption, "Hard work pays off hard work, huh?" I screenshotted it, filed it under things I pay for while she lies to the internet. At first, they paid on time every first of the month. The full rent hit the trust account. $12,000, no questions asked. The property stayed spotless. Lydia's quarterly reports showed clean inspections. The furniture stayed intact. No leaks, no complaints. I watched it all quietly, never said a word. Never slipped. Never hinted that house made enough to cover its mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance with thousands left over. Every quarter, the value rose. Every month, my net worth climbed. And still, Rachel posted like it was hers. Her view, her deck, her dream come true. She threw parties, filmed content, hosted retreats for other influencers, desperate to rebrand themselves. And it worked for a while. Until the relationship cracked, it started with Olivia slowly disappearing from the posts. First fewer photos, then none at all. Then a cryptic story from Rachel. Trust is earned. Loyalty is rare. Watch the snakes. By June, the rent hit 4 days late. By July, 12 days by August, only $4,000 came in, barely a third of what was owed. Rachel emailed Lydia with a 5-paragraph excuse about a temporary brand delay and a few pending invoices from sponsor campaigns. She asked for grace during this difficult season. I gave her 30 days that month. Olivia officially vacated. Lydia flagged it as a potential unauthorized occupant situation. Rachel had moved someone else in, some retired NFL guy with 800,000 followers and a temper you could hear through the security footage. The house changed overnight. Empty champagne bottles in the trash. Mud tracked into the foyer. The inspection photos were less pristine now, less curated. But Rachel kept posting like nothing was wrong. The lake house was still her stage. She posted a 4th of July party from the dock with catered oysters, LED lights on the boathouse, a floating unicorn the size of a Subaru, and fireworks timed to her curated playlist. The caption, "Grateful for my home every single day. She owed 38 grand. By then, I still didn't say a word." The trust account ticked lower. Late fees kicked in. She sent another message asking if we could pause rent for 30 days. Lydia declined, firm but polite. Rachel's next post? A blurry boomerang of her walking barefoot through the grass with the caption, "Abundance comes to those who believe she believed, but the balance believed harder." Rachel didn't show up to her eviction hearing. She probably never even opened the certified envelope Lydia had mailed it exactly on day 31 after the last partial payment. Proper notice. Legal language. Deadline in bold. No loopholes. The same kind of paperwork every landlord sends when tenants forget this is a transaction. Not a dream they're owed. The envelope was signed for. We had proof, but Rachel still acted like the lake house was her kingdom. By the end of that month, she owed $48,400. The fees stacked neatly, missed payments, late penalties, property wear, violation notices. Lydia filed in Lexington County Court the same morning the balance crossed that line. It wasn't personal. It was just process. Meanwhile, Rachel posted a video from the rooftop terrace with her new boyfriend, shirtless, overtanned, and built like a gym sponsorship gone wrong, twirling her in a circle with the caption, "We're building something real." She spelled building in all caps. They installed a mini fire pit on the deck and strung bistro lights without asking. Lydia flagged it immediately. Unauthorized fixtures. Lease violation number 5. I nodded. Keep documenting. Every infraction made the court's job easier. The day the eviction was approved, Rachel posted a story from the bathtub. Manifesting next-level peace. You can't manifest past due rent. The court granted a writ of ejectment within 72 hours. The sheriff's office scheduled the lockout for the following Tuesday at 8 a.m. sharp. Lydia coordinated the locksmith. I covered the cost from the trust. The house had to be vacated, inspected, and resecured. In under 4 hours, Rachel never confirmed she'd even received the ruling. But she knew because the night before the lockout, she hosted one last party. It wasn't a send-off. It was a deflection. Photos of smiling friends, cheap champagne, mismatched furniture, pushed out to the lawn. One girl in a glitter dress standing barefoot on the dock, yelling something into the wind. Jackson, her latest accessory, filming a slow pan of the lights, reflecting on the water, captioned, "Legacy in the making." No mention of the sheriff coming at dawn. No hint that this entire chapter was closing like a trapdoor. At 7:55 a.m., Lydia arrived with the officer and the locksmith. The door was locked. No response. The officer knocked 3 times, waited, then nodded to proceed. Inside, they found chaos. Furniture gone, trash bags half filled, one wine glass shattered in the sink, makeup smudged on a towel in the master bath, clothes still in drawers, a wig drying on the upstairs railing, LED lights blinking weakly from the deck as the sun came up. Rachel was gone. No note, no apology, no acknowledgement. She had vanished in the night like a bad Airbnb guest who realized the cleaning fee wasn't optional. The locks were changed. The alarm reset. Lydia's team did a full walkthrough, took inventory, photographed every dent and scratch. The kitchen island had a new burn mark. The garage smelled like gasoline. One of the upstairs windows had been cracked, maybe from a slammed door or a thrown object. Nobody knew. The trust covered the repairs. Everything was itemized, documented, billed to Rachel's collections record. I sent the full debt to a national recovery agency within 48 hours. They flagged it across all 3 credit bureaus and attached wage garnishment notices to her known income sources. She made one attempt to dispute the amount, claimed in writing that some of the charges were unfair. The agency requested proof. She never replied. By spring, her credit score was 572. She couldn't rent a room without a cosigner, couldn't finance a used car. Her next-level piece turned into bouncing between friends' couches and sublets with 3-month limits. Jackson left 2 weeks later, posted one last shirtless gym mirror selfie with the caption, "Dropped dead weight, elevating solo." Blocked her. Unfollowed everyone who ever tagged her. She posted a black square with the caption, "Fake people everywhere. Lesson learned." Nobody liked it. Comments were turned off. Meanwhile, Lydia relisted the lake house in March. Demand was insane. 14 offers in 5 days. 9 were cash. One came in at $2.74 million. We took it. I reviewed the closing packet over lunch. Wire transfer landed 2 days later. After mortgage payoff, taxes, fees, and commissions, the trust cleared $918,000 in profit. That money went into an Austin account under a new LLC. By May, I'd bought a downtown loft overlooking the water. Cash, no debt, no roommate, no borrowed furniture, just space I owned. No family visits, no shared holidays, no new numbers. Rachel tried one more time. A burner Instagram account with no bio. 4 paragraphs about forgiveness and how family is forever. She wrote, "I know I hurt you. I know I was cruel. But you got your revenge. Maybe we can be sisters again." I blocked it without opening the last sentence. There was no revenge, only balance. Thanks for watching this full story about family betrayal, quiet strength, and long-earned justice. If you like real-life military and family revenge stories like this one, hit that subscribe button. We've got more coming, stories that hit hard, stay real, and always deliver.